Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. Have you ever noticed in life some things never change? Once a sin is introduced into a family, once a sin is introduced into culture, it seems like it's almost impossible to eradicate. 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 28. So Jehu destroyed Baal worship in Israel. However, he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who had caused Israel to commit the worship of the golden calves at Dan and Bethel. Now that takes you back to 1 Kings chapter 12. 1 Kings chapter 12, beginning with verse 26. Jeroboam thought to himself, the kingdom will now likely revert to the house of David if these people go up to offer sacrifices at the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. Now this is after Jeroboam had divided the 10 tribes off of the 2 tribes when Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, was foolish. So he says, in order to keep these people together, he said, they will again go give their allegiance to the Lord. Rehoboam, king of Judah, they will kill me and return to King Rehoboam. After seeking advice, oh my, doesn't this sound like Aaron? After seeking advice, the king made 2 golden calves. He said to the people, is it too much for you to go up to Jerusalem? Here are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. Now I want you to notice, Aaron, in advice of the people, counsel of the people, made 1 golden calf. But I want you to notice, hundreds and hundreds of years later, that seed of idolatry of a golden calf is still in the culture of these people. Though how many generations have died off, that seed of idolatry of a golden calf is still in the culture. Now, when Jeroboam wants to start a new worship system to keep the 10 tribes from rejoining with the 2 tribes, he seeks advice, and he doesn't build 1 golden calf, he builds 2, one at Bethel and one at Dan, 2 different sides of the 10 tribal areas to keep the people from traveling up to Jerusalem to the temple. Now, notice, not only did the seed of that idolatry continue in the culture, but it always got worse. Instead of 1 golden calf, now we have 2 golden calves. When sin returns, it always comes back stronger. Let me say that again. When sin comes back, it always comes back stronger. Now, one of the things you and I have to learn in life is to just stay away from it. Just stay away from it. Because once you let it begin to enter your family, I'm sorry, it stays there. I sat down with a father one time, and he was having horrible challenges with 2 of his sons. They were coming home completely drunk. And they'd wrecked one of the family cars. There was a lawsuit because the other son had run into somebody, and it was a horrible situation. And I looked at him and I said, you don't drink. Where did all of this start? I said, you're not a drunkard. You don't go to clubs. Where did this get into your sons? And then he told me, he said, Pastor, there was a tradition that my grandfather did, where every year on Christmas Eve and on New Year's Eve, the family would drink wine. He said, my grandfather did it, my father did it. He said, when I got saved, I stopped. He said, but one year, my father was visiting from the West, and he brought in bottles of wine, and even my sons and my daughters drank that night. And then a few days later, drank again on New Year's Eve. And he said, ever since then, I've had a problem. You have to understand, the only way to deal with sin is to keep it completely out. Because once it gets in, it is insidious in how it remains.